We used two of the most advanced AI models to create two characters. We will put them face to face. Their arguments will be evaluated by 5 independent AI models across multiple criteria, scored from 0 to 100. This is AI Debates. Should abortion be a federal right or a state decision?
Because abortion concerns the most fundamental human right, the right to life, it should not be left solely to state decision. Basic human rights must be protected consistently across the nation, not determined by geography. We would never allow states to decide whether slavery is legal or whether certain groups of people deserve equal protection under the law. Likewise, if the unborn are human beings, their right to life cannot depend on where their mother happens to live. While states can shape specific policies for supporting mothers and families, the core principle that innocent human life must not be intentionally destroyed deserves federal protection. A truly just society ensures equal rights for all, especially the most vulnerable, and that requires national recognition of the unborn child's right to life.
Abortion should be a federal right. Fundamental human rights shouldn't depend on geography. Your zip code shouldn't determine your access to basic healthcare and bodily autonomy. We don't allow states to decide whether people can vote, practice religion, or speak freely. Constitutional rights must be protected uniformly. When states control reproductive rights, we create a two-tiered system where economic privilege determines access. Those with resources can travel while others cannot. State-by-state approaches have already created dangerous situations. People bleeding in parking lots while lawyers debate whether saving them violates state law, children forced to cross state lines for rape-related abortions, and doctors afraid to provide emergency care. Medical care shouldn't require interstate travel. A pregnancy complication in Texas should receive the same standard of care as one in California. Federal protection ensures consistent access to evidence-based healthcare, prevents discrimination based on location, and maintains the principle that fundamental rights belong to individuals, not state governments. Healthcare access is a human right that transcends state boundaries.
Did overturning Roe v. Wade protect life or undermine freedom?
Overturning Roe v. Wade protected life by removing a judicial barrier that had prevented states from safeguarding unborn children. Roe invented a constitutional right to abortion that does not exist in the text or history of the Constitution, effectively denying legal protection to millions of human beings. By reversing it, the court restored the ability of the people, through their elected representatives, to enact laws reflecting the value of life. Critics say it undermined freedom, but true freedom cannot be built on the destruction of innocent lives. Freedom without respect for life becomes license to harm the vulnerable. Protecting the unborn does not erase women's rights, it calls for society to support both mother and child. In this sense, overturning Roe advanced justice. It reaffirmed that safeguarding life is more fundamental than preserving an invented freedom to end it.
Overturning Roe v. Wade has undermined freedom without meaningfully protecting life and has actually endangered lives in measurable ways. The evidence shows increased maternal mortality in restrictive states, delayed emergency care as doctors fear prosecution, and women bleeding in parking lots while hospitals consult lawyers. Ectopic pregnancy and miscarriage treatments have been delayed or denied. These are actual deaths and injuries, not hypothetical ones. Meanwhile, abortion rates haven't significantly decreased nationally. People with resources travel to other states, while others seek unsafe alternatives or are forced into dangerous situations. The decision removed a fundamental freedom, the right to make intimate healthcare decisions with your doctor. It created a patchwork system where your rights depend on geography and wealth, undermining equal protection under law. Real-life protection would involve comprehensive healthcare, maternal support, family assistance, and education, not criminalizing medical decisions. The current system has created medical chaos while failing to achieve its stated goals. Freedom and safety both require trusting individuals with their own healthcare decisions.
Is abortion a constitutional right under privacy and liberty?
No, abortion is not a constitutional right under privacy and liberty. The Constitution never mentions abortion, and the framers did not intend for the Due Process Clause or any other provision to include it. The so-called right to privacy recognized in Roe v. Wade was not grounded in the text, history, or structure of the Constitution, but was created by judicial interpretation. While privacy and liberty are important, they are not unlimited. They do not extend to acts that harm or kill another human being. Just as liberty doesn't justify neglecting or abusing born children, it cannot justify ending the life of an unborn child. The Constitution's true purpose is to protect fundamental rights, chief among them the right to life. Abortion, rather than being a constitutional liberty, is a direct violation of the most basic human right upon which all others depend.
Yes, abortion access flows logically from constitutional privacy and liberty principles that courts have long recognized. The 14th Amendment protects liberty from government interference in personal decisions. The Supreme Court has consistently recognized privacy rights in intimate matters, contraception Griswold, interracial marriage Loving, and family decisions Pierce. Reproductive autonomy fits squarely within this established framework. Equal protection also applies. Pregnancy uniquely affects one sex, so restrictions on reproductive health care constitute sex-based discrimination. When government controls reproductive decisions, it fundamentally alters women's equal participation in society. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures, including government intrusion into medical decisions between patients and doctors. These are new or radical interpretations. They reflect decades of constitutional jurisprudence recognizing that certain personal decisions are too intimate for government control. The Constitution doesn't need to explicitly mention abortion any more than it needs to mention contraception or marriage. The principles of liberty, privacy, and equal protection provide clear constitutional grounding for reproductive rights.
Should religious values influence abortion laws?
Religious values, like secular moral values, inevitably influence laws, but opposition to abortion is not only a religious stance, it's a human rights issue grounded in reason and science. Laws already reflect moral principles shared across traditions, such as prohibitions against theft or murder. The question is whether the unborn is a human being deserving of protection. Biology says yes, regardless of religion. Many people, religious and non-religious, recognize that intentionally ending innocent life is wrong. In a pluralistic society, laws should not impose theology, but they must reflect moral truths essential to justice. Protecting the unborn is no more a religious imposition than outlawing slavery or child abuse was. It's the defense of human dignity. So while religious voices contribute to the debate, the case against abortion stands on universal principles of human rights, not merely sectarian beliefs.
Religious values should not dictate abortion laws in a constitutional democracy founded on religious freedom and separation of church and state. Many religious traditions actually support reproductive choice. Reform Judaism considers abortion healthcare. Some Christian denominations emphasize compassionate decision-making, and Buddhist ethics focus on reducing suffering. Imposing one religious interpretation violates the religious freedom of others. The Establishment Clause prohibits government from endorsing specific religious beliefs. When laws are based primarily on religious doctrine rather than secular reasoning, they violate this fundamental principle. Personal religious beliefs should absolutely guide individual decisions. Those who believe abortion is wrong can choose not to have them. But in a diverse society, no one's religious convictions should control another person's medical decisions. Effective governance requires secular rationale that respects all citizens regardless of faith. Laws should protect everyone's right to follow their own religious conscience, not force compliance with one particular religious view. True religious freedom means protecting both the right to practice your faith and the right to be free from others' religious impositions.
Is criminalizing abortion consistent with democratic values?
Yes, criminalizing abortion is consistent with democratic values because democracy is not simply about majority rule, it is about protecting the rights of all, especially the most vulnerable. A society that permits the killing of its weakest members fails the core democratic principle of equal protection under the law. Every democracy restricts certain personal choices when they harm others. Laws against assault, child abuse, or drunk driving are examples. Abortion directly ends a human life, so treating it as a matter of untouchable personal freedom undermines justice. Moreover, overturning Roe v. Wade returned the issue to the democratic process, allowing citizens and legislators to debate and pass laws reflecting the people's will. Criminalizing abortion is not anti-democratic, it is an effort to ensure that democracy upholds its highest value, that every human being, born or unborn, is entitled to life and protection under the law.
Criminalizing abortion contradicts democratic values of individual liberty, minority rights protection, and government accountability to the people. Majority rule with minority rights is fundamental to democracy. Even if majorities oppose abortion in some areas, democratic systems protect individual rights from majoritarian tyranny. We don't vote on whether people can practice religion or speak freely. Certain rights are too fundamental. Individual autonomy underpins democratic participation. When government controls intimate personal decisions, it undermines the self-determination that democracy requires. Citizens must be free to make basic choices about their own lives and bodies. Equal participation suffers when reproductive rights are restricted. Forced pregnancy prevents equal economic and social participation, creating second-class citizenship based on biology. Criminalization also creates government overreach, policing pregnancy outcomes, investigating miscarriages, and prosecuting medical decisions represents unprecedented state surveillance of private life. Democratic values emphasize trusting citizens with difficult decisions while protecting vulnerable individuals from government coercion. Criminalizing abortion inverts this principle, empowering government to make intimate decisions for people.